This week's question is a very seasonal question and a great question from a parishioner. How do we determine the date of Easter? And as my friends at IBM Labs would say, it's a question that has a surprisingly complicated answer, but I'll try and keep it simple. And I think probably the simplest way to approach the question is chronologically. In the very beginning, in the first century, the church celebrated Easter to coincide with the Jewish feast of Passover, reasoning that our Lord's passion, death, and resurrection also coincided with the Jewish feast of Passover. In the course of time, though, the church departed from the use of the Jewish calendar when most of the Western world switched from the lunar calendar, which is the basis for the Jewish calendar, over to a solar calendar, and thus began determining the date of Easter based on the occurrence of the first full moon after the spring equinox. By the time of the Council of Nicaea in the fourth century, the church further determined that the solemnity of the resurrection of our Lord should be celebrated on a Sunday. So, in the proceedings of the Council of Nicaea, it was determined that Easter would be celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. There are today some further refinements of that determination, and the details probably go beyond the scope of Father Mike Drop, but um, suffice it to say that it is a long-standing tradition in the church. And further, there have been occasional calls to stabilize the date of Easter in a similar way to the stabilization of the celebration of Christmas. But for now, it remains as it has since the Council of Nicaea over the past 16 centuries or so. Again, the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. So, in great anticipation of the great celebration of the solemnity of our Lord's resurrection, remember that God is who He says He is, you are who He says you are, and live the life that He created you to live.